we're back at Birds Green Fishery today, having another crack. It's a little bit more mild than it was the other day, or last week should I say, when it was half frozen. Can't believe the temperatures go from one thing to another in this country, but typical. Anyway, going to run for a few baits that we've got, a few new ones and stuff, and a couple of old ones. These are the old mainline plum pop-ups in the 18 mils. But what I like to do this time of year is just, if you're going to use them, I like to use small baits and just trim them right, trim them right down. Don't know what you do with them, but dumbbell kind of shape I usually like to do. What I find is that just like releases so much more flavour than just the standard bait. It just takes the skin off of it really, and allows the water to penetrate. Personally, I wouldn't advise to use them like for 24 hours overnight, because that'll become quite soft. Although they'd probably stay on there. In my book, I like to just use them for a quick one-day session. So that's those. That's the mainline plum. We got recently new bait from NutriBaits, which is the plum and caproic acid. Now the caproic acid is not too dissimilar from the N-butyric acid. That's been a classic, it's massive, used all over the world these days. And the caproic acid is very, very similar, but it has, in its own liquid form, it has a type of, they say it's supposed to smell like goat meat, whatever that's supposed to smell like, but it is a real pungent, nasty smell, but mixed with other flavours, it can sometimes be fantastic. And I think they've really come onto a winner with this, with a plum and caproic acid together. Bright pink, really visual this time of year, fantastic colour, super buoyant, they stay up forever, and it also comes with like a top-up bait soak spray, which is a caproic acid spray. And what I've been doing with these is just spinning them like that. Is just giving them a little spray, 2 or 3 sprays in the pot, give them a good shake up, and leave them for the day. Leave them, just put them aside, forget about them, and then come back tomorrow, do exactly the same thing tomorrow, and you'll find that all that liquid is soaked into those baits. It doesn't make them any less buoyant. It's in the mix itself. They've been made to take on flavours, so they do take on flavours. What you'll notice is, over the course of a week, if you do it over the course of a week, do it every day, when you get to the end of the week, the last 3 or 4 sprays, you leave it again 24 hours, come back, and you'll find that you'll see just a little bit of wetness inside the tub. And that means that the baits have got to their maximum. They won't take any more flavour on, and that's how you want them. You don't want them, too soaked in bits and pieces, because it will affect the buoyancy, obviously. So yeah, you'll get to a limit where they'll be topped up, and that'll be great. Over the course of a few months, you'll probably notice they'll become dry again, maybe. Where you've had the lid off, you've had them open, got to the air, they release the moisture out of the baits, and again you can just do it all over again. So that's a fantastic one. Had a fish on it earlier, and unfortunately my cameraman wasn't here. So never mind. Let's hope we have another one. Which we will do. That's that. And another one I want to talk about briefly is the new rock salt, the rock salt baits from Nesh. Now they've come out in all genres and styles and what you want to use. So these are your chain reactions, which break down around your hook link. This is the natural rock salt, which is untouched. This is probably how it comes out of the ground, where it's mined, like that. And then you've got the solubles, which is the same as your chain reaction, but these are obviously in ball type. Now the thing is, it's not really a bait. It's not a bait as such. It's something that can go towards your angling. And the one thing I wanted to point out was that you don't need to go mad with salt. The last thing you want to do is think about road salt. Don't ever even think about using it, because it contains a lot of chemicals. With salt itself, it's contained in many baits anyway. Fish meals have got it in, meat meals have got it in. Most of the baits you buy these days contain salt anyway. liquids that you use and stuff. So you don't need to go overboard. I think they will help in trying to get a baited spot going, perhaps on some venues and particular times of the year, May, when they're trying to replenish that kind of mineral in themselves. So they will definitely come in handy at some point. But I just don't want to see people going overboard with it because there's no need for it. Not in my book anyway, and also the health side of it as well. It's very much like ourselves. When you put salt on your own food, it can taste nice, but if you put too much on, it tastes horrible. Fish have got the same, similar sort of palate. So I'm pretty sure that you can go overboard with it. And it's the same with sugar. Sweet things, you can go overboard with it. If you look at most ingredients and stuff through the shops, what they sell, they always have like a limit of what you should put in a bait, and that is because it gives you that kind of perfect taste and the perfect, way it all comes together in the bait. So, anyway, go for, give them a go. You ain't got much to lose, but just don't go mad with it. And definitely don't go buying road salt or dishwasher salt. These are made specifically for fishing, and that's what you want to go with. So, anyway, we're going to go back to the rods and see if we can have a fish later on and go from there. Try it over by them reeds because it's a known spot and there's no one fishing there, so I'm not bothering anyone. I wouldn't usually cast across the lake, but give it a go. Anyway, spot on. So what I've been doing today is just putting a few baits in over milk baits, nothing major, like 4 baits probably maximum every half an hour, something like that on these sort of places. I think it's just more the noise really than anything else, and they are starting to get on the move now anyway, so sometimes it can help, Do for another half hour. Right, I've had a change of mind. I'm going to change over up bait and rig. I like to cast about a little bit this time of year, and hopefully drop on a fish. So I'm going to change over from the standard 8-pound trialing that I was on, and I'm going to use a hook length of the old Supernatural, same size hook again, just a small hook, a tiny hook. I'm going to use a bottom bait this time. I've got a feeling they might be quite hard on the bottom because of the conditions overcast. They're not up in the water, definitely up in the water. I think I've seen some signs of a few fish sort of halfway out. So I'm going to stick the old bottom bait on, and we'll give that a go and see how we get on. So. Loop over on my swivel, pulled it up, nice and tidy, and then just attach my boilie as usual. What I've done is, so I've got a 15-pound Supernatural on there in the weed green, got a little tiny hook, and I don't know if you can just see that, I've just put a little bit of tubing on there, generally, as a rule, I don't usually like using it on tiny hooks like this because I don't think you get much out of it really. But because I'm using a bottom bait and I like the weight to be near the point of the hook, I find it helps to turn it anyway. So I've been doing all right on them, so I'm gonna stick to that, you know. And that's it. We'll wang that out and see how we get on with that. As you can see, we've had a little move. Spotted a few signs of bubblers and stuff up this other end. Like I said before, sometimes they can be right up the other end of the lake within minutes. So we're going to stick a couple of rods out, one in open water, one a little bit shallower, and see how we get on. I'm just going to swap over back to the hopper and on the plum and caproic acid back to the trialing hook link and put it back where we've seen the bubblers and see if that brings us any luck. It's the thing this time of year, it's just all about casting around and trying to find them because they're there somewhere. Like this rapping sort of contest, it was just we're in. Well, it seemed to take forever, but at last we have something on the end. Nice old dark common. Come on! We did talk about maybe having a double take right towards the end, and what do you know? We get a double take. Can you believe it? Beginning of March. We've got one in the net already. Looks a nice common. Nothing big, but it's a good fish. You never know, but this feels like a good fish. I've such a good scrap in here because the margins are fairly deep when the water's high. It's just a matter of trying to get it in the same net. in.
Skill.
And that is how you do it. I don't like putting them in the same net, but what can you do? I've got two on the mat at the same time, nothing big, but beginning the march, one after the other. This one's a little bit bigger. Funny old fish he is. He behaves himself for 5 minutes. There you go. Lovely jubbly. Both on the caproic acid, the old Nutribased. And we stick them back, yeah? Okay, so we've come to the end of a full day session. Two at once. Unbelievable really, because it was the last thing we was thinking was going to happen. We did say it was going to happen, mucking around, but lo and behold, it has. So really pleased. Pleased for me, because it's really cold and it still feels like winter. And pleased for Scott, because it's the first fish that he's filmed, so how about that? Happy days. And here's to many more. Back the job.